hell do you get fired on your day off? How do you potentially lose a job that is paying you $18 million a year, all because you wanted to have some drinks while allegedly driving at the same time? Recently, Tony Romo was arrested for driving under the influence. I watched the video of his arrest. I thought Tony Romo handled himself well. He didn't seem too intoxicated to me, but he did reject the officer's request to take a breathalyzer, which was definitely in his best legal interest. But the only reason you really have to reject a breathalyzer test is if you don't want to provide evidence to the cops of the intoxicants that are in your mouth. According to Awful Announcing, Tony Romo has been placed on indefinite leave by CBS. More than likely, Tony Romo is going to be fired. Now, just think about that for a second. Tony Romo lost an $18 million a year job. More than likely, Tony Romo also lost a lucrative career in broadcasting because he could not put down the damn booze. You know, Uncle KC in his teens and 20s, back when he was Nephew KC, he would think 41-year-old Uncle KC was a dork. But you know what I realized at 41 that I could not understand at 21, even though my dad constantly trying to tell me? Nothing good ever comes from drinking. Nothing. There are no positives to drinking alcohol, which is why I no longer do it. Now, some people are happy that Tony Romo is potentially losing his job at CBS. Obviously, I don't think they're happy with the way he potentially lost his job. I don't think anyone wants to see Tony Romo struggling with the booze. But the reason some people are happy is because Tony Romo has declined as a broadcaster. When he started with Jim Nantz at CBS 10 or so years ago, I thought Tony Romo was phenomenal. When he was in his broadcasting prime, Tony Romo could tell you what was about to happen before the play even started, before the ball was even snapped. He could look at the formation, look at the defense, and he could tell you exactly where the quarterback was going with the ball. When I talk about pretend analysts, when I talk about people like Mina Kimes being in positions that they are not qualified to be in, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Tony Romo has knowledge that can only be obtained by spending years running an NFL offense. But over the last few years, and this decline seems to have started once he was given his massive contract extension. Over the last few years, Tony Romo has declined, which is one of the reasons why this was an easy decision by CBS to let him go. If Tom Brady got a DUI, Fox is not firing him. If Troy Aikman got a DUI, ESPN ain't letting him go. Tony Romo gave CBS an easy excuse to fire him. Plus, and Colin Cowherd made this point, I thought it was interesting. 6 years ago, when Tony Romo was negotiating his contract extension with CBS, he drastically increased his value by putting ESPN and CBS against each other. Now, to his credit, it was a smart move in the short term, but long term, this negotiating strategy, it can backfire. Executives at CBS, they felt like they were being backed into a corner. At the time, Tony Romo was arguably the most popular broadcaster in the NFL. CBS felt like they had to overpay him to keep him with Jim Nantz, keep him at the network, which also drove up the financial value of Jim Nantz. Yes, Tony Romo got paid, but everything comes with a price. When you do something like this, people don't forget about it. So for the next 10 years, which is the length of Tony Romo's contract, he's got to be damn near perfect. He has to be spotless. He damn sure can't decline in the booth while also drinking and driving. He can't give CBS any reason to legally get out of his contract, which is exactly what Tony Romo did when he got arrested. You know, there have been instances over the last few years where I wondered if Tony Romo was hung over while calling NFL games. Obviously, I have no way of knowing that for sure, but when you're familiar with the effects that alcohol can have on you, you you develop this ability to sense when someone is struggling. You can literally hear it in their voice. And there have been NFL games over the years where I could hear it in Tony Romo's voice. And I wonder if he had had a rough night the night before. Either way, Tony Romo won't have to worry about that this coming NFL season because he's already been replaced by J.J. Watt, and his broadcasting career appears to be over. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.